Welcome back. It's a distinct honor and a pleasure to introduce, how many is it, 27? 27-time Indiana Sports Broadcaster of the Year?
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
All right, high 20s anyway. The voice of the Indiana Hoosiers, Don Fischer. And Don, this has got to be a special season for you, and nothing really any better than what transpired in Assembly Hall on Saturday night.
Well, you're right. I mean, it's been a great year, and it's been a great 2 years because last year's turnaround year was the biggest in Indiana basketball history, and they went from 12 wins the year before to 27 last year. Some really special ball games, and now we're feeling that same kind of presence this year with this ball club. And Saturday was one of those kind of games. You knock off number one, even though you're right there in the hunt with the number one spot, but it was a special performance, a tremendous crowd, a great scenario all day long with ESPN Game Day there. So it was just fun to be a part of it all.
You get to interact and get to know a lot of the players and coaches, and I think one of the things that has Indiana fans so inspired the country over about this team in particular is not so much that they're just good, but they're likable people. I tell people that Victor Oladipo is a great guy. Cody Zeller is the real deal as a person off the court. Right. This is an easy team to embrace.
Well, it is, and not just because of their personalities, which are all really fun guys, good people. You know, these kids were raised well by their parents. You can just tell that they enjoy each other, and they are a tremendous group of kids from the standpoint of basketball, sharing the basketball. There's not a selfish guy on this basketball team. You don't worry about somebody taking inappropriate shots just because they're trying to get their numbers and their stats. This is a group that likes one another, shares the basketball, and plays tremendously, as much like a team as any team you'd want to watch.
You're one of the things that strands many generation of Indiana fans together. It's been interesting to see in these last couple of years how excited the former players have gotten about this team, and they love coming back.
Well, and we're seeing more and more of that because this team is the kind of basketball team that Indiana people like, and those former players were all a part of teams like this, and I think they identify with this group of kids. So I think that's a big part of it, and more the older players, the guys that haven't been back for a while, we're seeing a lot more of those people come around.
Did you ever think, calling Little League baseball games on a station in Terre Haute, Indiana, that your career would blossom into what you've been able to experience these last 30, 40 years?
No. I always envisioned that I was going to make it big time someplace. Those kind of things like we all do as young broadcasters. But the honest to goodness truth was I grew up in a small farm in a small town. And I would have probably been happy to stay in Terre Haute, Indiana for all those years had it not come differently for me. But to be a part of Indiana University, to be on this campus or be a part of this campus for 40 years like I have been, I couldn't have envisioned it. And it's hard to explain what it means to me personally because, like I said, I never envisioned myself getting to this point.
You've called almost all of the great moments in the history of this basketball program, but in talking to you Friday before the Saturday game against Michigan, you still get excited just as much so as you did in the early 1970s.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, we are a part of something special. And anytime you've got a team that's ranked this high, I get excited when we had a 6-win season. I'm still excited to do games because I love radio play-by-play. It's what I do for a living. It's what I got into this business to do, and I do more of it now outside of the Terre Haute days because I did a lot of play-by-play in those days. But I do more of it now than I do of anything else that I do from a sportscasting standpoint. So I really enjoy myself in doing play-by-play, and when you've got a really good team to broadcast for, that makes it that much more special.
Don, really appreciate you joining us.
Thanks for having me, Jeremy. I appreciate it.